all these different kinds of candidates too. It's that affordability is the primary pain point for Americans and for Texans. So I've served for 4 terms in the state legislature. I've actually passed a lot of bills as a Democrat in a Republican-dominated legislature. And a lot of those bills have been focused on bringing down costs. Obviously, grocery store prices are a real pain point for people. But I don't think we're talking enough about the structural aspects of our economy that prevent working class, middle class people from getting ahead. So the cost of housing, the cost of healthcare, the cost of childcare. In Texas, I don't know what it is in the rest of the country, but in Texas, childcare is now more expensive than college.
Wow.
So for young working families with young kids, this is pricing them out of the American dream. And so I've passed bills to bring down costs in all of those areas. I want to do that at the federal level. There's even more that we could do in Washington to start to restructure the economy so that working people, middle class people can finally build a life, build wealth for themselves and their families.
Housing seems like one of the biggest costs that
Yes.
has been a pain point for people now for almost a decade, whether you're not able to buy a home, whether you can't afford your rent, young people thinking they're never going to be able to buy a home.
Right. And they're not wrong.
Right.
I mean, I saw a stat that 90% of baby boomers went on to earn more money than their parents. For millennials like me, it's 50%. It's even lower for Gen Z. And owning your first home is such a key part of that dream. And there's kind of a sequence, because if you can't buy a house, then it's hard to start a family, hard to have kids, hard to get rooted in a community, hard to build wealth. So these things build on each other. And if we're robbing young people from the ability to afford their first home, you're really locking them out of the American dream. And I don't think older generations understand the damage and the harm that that's doing to young people all over this country.
What have you guys been doing in Texas about that? Because I do know that it's easier to build homes in Texas than it is, at least here in California.
Yeah. Well, a few things. I actually just passed a bill a few months ago in the Texas legislature to allow for single stair housing. This is kind of wonky, but this is a form of housing, many times condos, that's very popular in other countries. But for some reason, we have this outdated building code in Texas and a lot of other states that doesn't allow for these smaller housing units with just one staircase. It's usually the blame is put on fire safety, but all these other countries have figured out how to keep people safe and also build these smaller units. And so we just repealed that part of the code. And Democrats were excited because it was going to allow for more young people to afford a home, either whether they're renting or whether they're buying a condo.